Hello, my name is Nina Reeves from Stuttering Therapy Resources. Let me start by saying welcome, and to those of you who have been with us before, welcome back. As you may know, we have wonderful free resources on our website and throughout our social media, one of which is this series on speech handling techniques in stuttering therapy. Let me give you a little hint. It's best to start the technique series with the videos entitled Introduction and Foundations. Those two short videos will give you a lot of background on getting better information when you watch the rest of the series. Also note that the technique videos themselves are in no particular order. We put them on the website for organizational purposes in the way that they fell, and it's not intended to be a program of how you would introduce those techniques in stuttering therapy. Of course, you know that each child is an individual, and you're going to use your clinical intuition and knowledge of the child's needs at any one particular time in order to make clinical decisions about which techniques when. This video highlights the technique of pausing. In our book, School-Age Stuttering Therapy, A Practical Guide, we use the terms pausing and phrasing because this highlights that pauses and phrases are linked in any communicative attempt. Pauses happen between phrases. When you want to start to introduce this technique in therapy, you're going to want to begin by discovering what your clients know about these terms, and then defining pausing and phrasing as they relate to communication. This helps your clients begin to gain understanding about how pausing and phrasing can help them speak more easily. So just a few examples of how pauses and phrases help your clients who stutter. First of all, they give the speaker more control over the overall pace of communication. Pausing and phrasing can also reduce the feeling of time pressure, thus reducing the feeling to need to rush your speech. And both of these benefits can help decrease overall speech muscle tension for those who stutter. Let me outline some sample ideas for introducing pausing and phrasing in therapy. This is not an exhaustive list, just a few things you might want to consider. First, I like to start with going over the summary sheet. We have one of these summary sheets for any of the techniques we work on with our clients. And this is really great because it lets us work through what the technique is, when someone can use it, and why it's beneficial. I also like to solidify with visuals. As we're learning about any new technique, for example this time, pausing and phrasing, I like to help my clients understand in ways that they can write down what's in it for them. So this is what I call an effect circle. And you're going to see here in this example, this is my job to go through and outline potential factors that each technique can have an effect on. And then of course the client goes through and decides what they think might happen. So in this example, not using pauses and what may happen in their speech and their communication, and then of course using pauses. And this is so helpful because it is not just me telling a client that pausing and phrasing is beneficial to them. It's them learning in their own minds that this is something that's going to help them in the long run. After you have prepared your client for pausing and phrasing, it's time to practice it in therapy. Practice activities are used to reinforce the naturalness of pausing and how it can benefit those who stutter. Let me just give you two examples of some practice activities. Reading passages. We can set up a reading passage with commas, periods, and slash marks for reminders for our clients to take natural pauses. And sentence strips or sentence building cards. They help us force pausing as a client builds their sentence. An example of one that I've used before, and you have these in your repertoire of materials, anything that's a language card. So these happen to be the silly sentences, and my younger students really love these. It is the noun or the subject, the verb, and then the object. And as the students use these sentences, we keep them totally turned over until it's time for them to say it. And that forces a pause. And then, of course, we're going to, as with everything, move their skill level from sentence to multi-sentence to pre-conversation, short, structured conversations, and then into conversational skills, just like we would do with any other technique. And of course, we would then help a student take it on the road. And by taking it on the road, I mean helping our clients be able to use pausing and phrasing in easier and then more challenging situations in their real lives. And finally, I want to give you a few special notes about pausing and phrasing. Pausing and phrasing do help to decrease the communication pace, but that does not mean slow speech. Don't let students get confused about this. Pausing naturally slows communication without artificially slowing speech rate. Pauses also don't need to be abnormally long or include other things to remember. There's no cueing for breathe or think during a pause. The body will do that naturally when we pause. Let's not give our clients something else to think about. And finally, pausing and phrasing is an overarching communication strategy. It's listed with the fluency enhancing techniques, but it really does go with all the other strategies whenever you reach the sentence level of practice for anything that you're working on. So, this has been a very brief overview of pausing and phrasing. We have a lot more to say about it in our book and other writings. Please visit our website and you'll find a way to connect with us with all of our social media outlets. And we look forward to seeing you at our next practical tip.